I had sort of an unusual path. In high school, was sort of the band geek par excellence. I did everything related to band, as I'm sure many CMB members did, and so much so that I thought I wanted to be a professional trumpet player when I grew up. And so, in pursuit of that goal, I went to Oberlin Conservatory for a year. And it was wonderful there. The wind ensemble, the orchestra, the chamber groups were fantastic. Some of my friends are in major symphonies now, but the marching band had 11 people in it.
I didn't know
and,
that.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I left Oberlin actually is that I was lacking the kind of community that existed in my high school marching band. So I was really hoping that I would be able to rediscover that at the university, and I knew that the marching band at the time was relatively new, and I was excited to get involved. So it was definitely something that I planned to do from the moment I decided to come to the university.
And as for me, I definitely made my school selection first. I wanted to go to UVA. Was really glad that that worked out. And I knew I wanted to be a marching band once I knew I'd be headed there, and looked into it a little bit. My high school marching band was closer to the size of Oberlin's marching band. I think there were maybe about 25 people in it at the most. So coming to the University of Virginia and having the opportunity to be in a big band and a real band, and one that was clearly, strongly, and generously supported was definitely a new experience for me, and I loved having that opportunity. It was definitely something that was attractive to me as I started at the university.
I contacted Dr. Pease, about a month before coming to grounds, and asked him, what the situation was with the band, because I wasn't sure whether or not you could join the band as a non-first year. I didn't know much about the band's welcoming arms and attitude. And so I talked to Dr. Pease. My first memory of the band is coming into the lobby of the Doubletree Hotel and seeing a bunch of people in matching T-shirts and ugly shorts issued by the university. And I seem to recall there was a bunch of clapping, and then also I had all my stuff in the car, and the band had rented some storage units, and so I remember immediately Kyle Graham, class of 2009, just leaping in to help. I'd met Kyle 10 seconds earlier, and then he spends 30 minutes helping me unload my stuff, which I think is not just a testament to the fact that Kyle's a great guy, but also to the fact that the band is full of great people, and I think the band inspires that sort of community and sense of giving. So that was my sort of first impression of the band, which was a pretty positive one.
Well, I did not have a car full of stuff to unload into a storage pod. That something similar for me. My first year was we were still at the English Inn, so we had the whole hotel and we could make as much noise as we wanted. And it was indeed a welcoming and joyful noise. I remember walking in with my parents, and again there was shouting and clapping and whooping and whatever. And people were so helpful and so willing to give me a hand and get settled in, and assure my mom that everything was going to be fine, since I was just a first year.
Your mother does need some reassuring.
She does. So again, that same really welcoming, giving, warm spirit was definitely my first encounter with the band. Overall, now looking back, I'm just amazed at how little sleep I could function on, and I think that's definitely one of the strong points of being 18 or 19 or whatever. I don't think I can do it now, but I think I just expected that college would be busy, and it wasn't a surprise. But as far as fitting in schedule-wise, as a music major, I had all sorts of other activities that went on in the evenings, whether it was gigs or other rehearsals. So definitely had to be careful schedule-wise that I didn't...
Gigging all over Cheryl's full hot
Yeah,
here.
right. That I didn't overlap with band things. So learning that, yes, band time is sacred. You can't touch this. You can't miss this.
Yeah. Coming from a conservatory, I actually spent a lot fewer hours every day with my trumpet as a member of the band than I did before, which sounds almost painful to contemplate. Rehearsal schedule is certainly very vigorous, but I think there's a sort of a common understanding that the reason why we spend so much time is because we take such pride in what we do. And so I think that it was kind of exciting for me to be a part of a marching band once again, that try to perform at a high level, and especially in contrast to my high school experience, which involved just as much rehearsal time, but everything focused around a single show, as opposed to doing a new show every game. It sort of it wasn't just the time; it was also the fact that there was something new every week. I was also the marching band was certainly one of I'd say two primary things that I did. I was also pretty involved in a debating society. All the years that I was out on grounds, and so it was sort of funny because occasionally I would show up in marching band practice wearing a bow tie, or vice versa, show up at the debating hall wearing sweaty marching band t-shirts. So other than occasional confusion related to what shirt I was supposed to be wearing, it seemed to fit in pretty well. Especially, you have to like football, you have to like band, but we all do.
Well, yeah, I think also from a time perspective, like rehearsals where you were there to work and to practice and to get things done, but also it was with for many of us it was with the same group of people that we wanted to hang out with in our free time anyway, or people we're roommates with or whatever. So it didn't, as far as scheduling it didn't always feel like work because you were with your friends and you were with people who were there for a similar purpose and a similar interest in
for a while Maria and I didn't even have to go on dates. We just get free food at the band events.
Yeah, that was pretty lame of you.
Maria and I, obviously, both members of the most fantastic section of the band. I don't know if there are any other trumpet players watching, but I sort of made it a policy never to become involved with a fellow trumpet player because I feel like there's only room for one trumpet-sized ego in any particular relationship. Happily, my ego is very small, and so Maria was able to take. No, I'm kidding. So Maria and I became great friends. We met in August at the start of band camp, and we started spending quite a bit of time together. I think I like to take credit for this because at the beginning of band camp, I went through the entire trumpet section and I added everyone to my buddy list on AIM, old school technology, and Maria was one of them. And then one day she had an away message up describing how she had just chased a possum across the green near. Yes, it's a good story. And so I asked Maria what the heck she was talking about. So we then proceeded to strike up a series of conversations that culminated in Maria repeatedly asking me out and me not having the good sense to say yes until I did. Until right after winter break in our second year, we decided to start dating. That was in January of 2007, and we were married in April of 2012. And yeah, we're still hanging in there. On a more serious note, one of I think sort of the foundation of Maria's and my relationship is music, and the fact that we have this thing in common. We met in the pursuit of music. Mm-hmm. And it's something that still continues to bring a great deal of joy to our lives. I happen to think that music people are the best people. Maybe Maria agrees. But, of course, the band is, I owe a lot to the band for bringing me and Maria together.
Well, also I'd say that, not to be too corny, but band probably is a fair microcosm for some of the things in life. If you can see somebody. You've seen me sweating through bibbed overalls with my hair that's been up under a hat.
This is a family program, dear.
Whatever. I've had the flu, and we've had to travel on buses, and you go through really exciting, joyful times with someone, and you also see them working hard and find out something about their commitment to the things that are important to them. And you also see people when they're cranky, they're tired, they're sick, they're gross, they're sweaty.
I'm never any of those things, but
never. And how they handle those situations, and I think that says a lot about a person's values and character. So I think you do get to know your fellow bandmates very, very well, whether it's in a purely platonic friendship sense or it gives you the foundation to have a romantic relationship with someone. These are all good qualities to know about for the people that are going to be important in your life.
Plus, if you're going to be practicing trumpet, in your house, you want to know that you're living with somebody who can at least tolerate it some of the time. So.
Or give you very helpful direction on how to correct your embouchure or your tone.
What would you know?
Losing football games.
Something I got used to.
I mean, something I used to. I do think that that's something that you have to sort of adjust to. Like, the band does really well. The band works really hard. We're excited for what we do. But we're a halftime show for, frequently, especially if it's at home, a stadium full of people who are probably not in the best mood by halftime. And it's our job to try and pep them up again and to
keep
everybody having a good time.
It's like, let's be super excited to play Go Who's Go for the 117th time. That sounds really great. Let's definitely do that. Those were hard times sometimes to sort of force yourself to feel the enthusiasm that certainly wasn't mirrored by the football team. On a lighter note, at one point we traveled to Pittsburgh to play the University of Pittsburgh. And I'm a Steelers fan because my father's from Pittsburgh, so all my life I have been dreaming of going to Heinz Field. And unfortunately, my triumphant entry to Heinz Field was against the Pitt Panthers. Whenever the Panthers score a first down or a touchdown, they play this hellacious bobcat noise over all of the speakers in the stadium. And I won't replicate it for you now because I don't want to destroy the camera equipment with its piercing nature. But they positioned, I think this was intentional, they positioned the away band right in between several banks of speakers. And so every time there was a first down in that game, which was very frequently, there was this big noise. And I was so furious, I almost left, but I didn't. But I guess on a more serious note, you know, everyone is pretty involved in the band, everyone's pretty serious about it, but we are students first. And on some of the weeks where there are back-to-back games, so you have a game week rehearsal schedule, and you're maybe doing some ill-conceived show that does not have music that you like very much. There are some times when you'd probably rather be somewhere else. And I think those are the times where it's really important to remember what brought you here in the first place, and to sort of rely on that to get you through those difficult times. And of course, honestly, you know, it's marching band. At the end of the day, it should be fun. And that was something that, you know, that I struggled with a little bit as well, because, you know, coming from a conservatory and being pretty serious about the music side of it was striking that balance between the musicianship and the entertainment. The CMB is a musical organization, but it's also sort of vigorous, active entertainment. There's a lot of dancing, there's a lot of waving. It was very different from my past experience. In high school, we had a very precise, almost symphonic quality to everything. Everything was very minute. Yes, dear. I choose the word excellent, but Maria chooses the word boring.
It was boring.
So in other words, there was not a lot of tag going on. There was not a lot of pop standards being played. So coming to the CMB and becoming deeply involved in all those things was, on the one hand, very exciting, but also sort of challenging to adjust your expectations of what a marching band should be and how we should be as musicians. It's hard to achieve subtle delicacies of musical excellence when you're just trying to blow as loud as you can in Scott Stadium. So I think for me that was occasionally challenging, but ultimately a rewarding way to realize that there are many different ways to make music.
I also had then Mr. now Dr. Pease for a class and the wind band through the music department, which was really fun. Remember running into Mr. Idzier in the music library. I worked there as a student, and it was just great to see people out and about from the band, and always wanted to know how you were doing, always positive, always, you know, is there anything we can do to help you or make your experience better? So I think overall all of the directors and the management staff of the band did a really good job of trying to be as involved and supportive of, you know, 100, 200, now 300, however many students there are, and a good job of making sure that if you needed something, you knew you had someone you could talk to and they would be there for you.
Yes, it's interesting to have a relationship with one's band directors after you've seen them prance half-dressed across the stage at the Doubletree.
I wasn't going to say any of these kinds of things.
But I actually think that's reflective of the fact that the directors, at least during our time, and I imagine this is still the case, try and treat you not as peers, but as adults and as people who are worthy of respect. And people where you don't feel the need to hide all elements of your personality from these people, and I think that's nice. Because I was a section leader, was responsible in some ways for sort of the musical development of our section during the year that I was a section leader, and I had some pretty strong ideas about how things should be done, as almost no one will be surprised to hear. And in some cases, those opinions ran counter to the vision that perhaps some of the directors had, and it was certainly a challenging experience to try and stand up for what I thought was the right thing to do for the section in the face of opposition. But I wouldn't characterize it as opposition. I think that all of the directors, all three of them, take the concerns and the ideas of students very seriously, and for the director of a major college band who has a lot to worry about and who is a professional band director to seriously address the concerns of some kid in his trumpet section. It's a sort of a respectful and a rare thing to do, and so although I didn't always see eye to eye with the directors on sort of the musical aspects of the band, at no point did I ever feel like my perspectives were not being respected, and that my opinions weren't being considered. And at the end of the day, that's pretty good. That's really all you can ask for as a student member of a band like this that has the kind of quality professional leadership that we have. And so I'd characterize my relationship with the directors as good. I admire those men, and I really like what they're doing for the band. As I said a few minutes ago, the energy and the passion that all of the directors, but especially Dr. Pease, have displayed in advocating for the interests of the band to the university leadership is truly outstanding. And I couldn't ask for anything more on that front. And having been a part of organizations and musical organizations in particular, where the directors were not as enthusiastic about helping the students and standing up for them and standing up for the organization to the broader school, I can say it's rare, and it makes a world of difference. And I think that most people in the band are aware of that, and so that was sort of the dominant chord of my relationship with the directors, was, I think, one of not just respect but mutual respect, which was very nice.
I also think that their dynamic with the band and with each other was also a very human one, and it was a great learning opportunity to watch people who, there were differing opinions either between student leadership or well, let's try this way or that way, or whatever the original plan was. I don't like that, or here's how I think I could make it better. Watching that and seeing a productive set of relationships in that fashion with people coming together and very clearly over speakers in front of 200 plus students on Tuesday night or whatever it is, trying to figure out, well, what's the next set going to be, or what's the visual going to be, or do we need more second trombone, and watching professionals work those kinds of situations out amongst themselves and arrive at decisions that involve compromise or flexibility or creativity or time pressures. I think it was really great that they made that a very accessible part of themselves to not just monolithic, this is what we're doing, we're your directors, but we got to see their process of how how they put all that together to be so successful for the band, and also that just they had a lot of fun while they were doing it, and they were it wasn't a relationship that was so hierarchical that it was, you must listen to what I say and do at all times. You could see that they were having fun in what they were doing, and they wanted to get to know their students and encourage them to have fun as well. And I think that makes a huge difference when you get to really see that, whether it's a one-on-one relationship you have with that person, or whether it's, you know, the 300 students in band all at once getting to observe, you know, those positive kinds of behaviors between individuals to do something that's bigger than any one of them.